Justyn Ross set to make his return this week? Well, that's a possibility here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and we're going to talk about this possibility as Ross has officially, available for the first time in 6 weeks, can now step on the practice field, can now come back and play with his Chiefs teammate. This coming from Adam Schefter as he tweeted out saying, Chiefs wide receiver Justyn Ross, who has missed the last 5 games on the commissioner's exempt list after an October incident, will be suspended 6 regular season games for violating the personal conduct policy for the NFL. Now, it continues because since any of those games a player missed while on the list is credited against the suspension, he will be back with the team on Monday after this past Sunday's game when the Chiefs took on the Bills. He will have to pay back those 6 game checks, though. So they didn't pay him last week, and he'll have to give back those 5 game checks that he had during the commissioner's exempt list. But this is super good news as Ross, obviously those 5 games we missed were added on to the suspension, taken off, and now he can finally come back and be on the practice field tomorrow, back with his teammates and playing with this Kansas City squad. Now, if you don't know what happened with Justyn Ross, well, he was arrested on October 23rd following a domestic disturbance involving a woman. He was then placed on the commissioner's exempt list and was unable to practice or play with Kansas City. Now, in the 7 games he did play, he had 3 receptions for 34 yards, his best game being against the Minnesota Vikings, where he had a pretty gnarly catch in about the second quarter, jumping up, and I like to call it Rossing somebody because he had a really good catch in the preseason. He Rossed somebody. He Ross. But the big news behind this is he can now return to the team. It's not like he's going to be held out of practices, not going to be held out of anything, and you can finally get him back and just hopefully have him officially there. Now, this was officially lifted yesterday as it was taken off, saying Aaron Wilson saying Justyn Ross's suspension was lifted by the NFL, and he can now come back to practice as they get a roster exemption granted. So with all that being said, as you have that on there, you can now have Justyn Ross just basically come out and play like he never missed a thing. And if you're excited for Justyn Ross to return to this squad, then go down there and type his jersey number 8. I want to see the comment section flooded with 8s if you're excited for Justyn Ross, because listen, I know that he may not make the biggest piece, but at the same time, you got to be excited for what he brings to the team, his speed, his agility, and overall just the way that he has been taught and talked about by not only Mahomes, but also Andy Reid. They liked this guy in preseason, and they didn't get to see him too much before everything kind of went downhill. If you think back to it, I compare him to Rashee Rice, and guess what? Rashee started going right after Justyn Ross left. That maybe Justyn Ross would have got going too. You never really know. He wasn't getting much snap percentage, just like Mr. Rashee. We'll have to see, though. If you're excited, though, type those 8s. Now, the roster exemption, what exactly does that mean? So, with Ross being added back onto the roster, there's no spot for him. I mean, they got 53 people there, so they have 54 now. Well, the NFL did grant them a roster exemption, which we will talk about and exactly what that means, how Kansas City will go about it, and if they're even going to allow him to make his return this week against the Patriots. All of that coming up here in just a moment. But before that, if you're going to go watch the Chiefs the rest of the season as they finished out these fast 4 games, well, then make sure you use Game Time. Game Time is your one place that you need to go for all your ticketing needs. If it's sports, if it's music, if it's comedy, even theater events, Game Time has you covered. You shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event, and Game Time gives you the peace of mind when buying tickets with their best price guarantee. And they have things like last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, even zone deals. Plus, it's super easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. You can go into that app, scroll down, see the prices for all the games. You got the Patriots, you got the Raiders, those final couple games going up. And you can go in, click in there, and see exactly what your seat's going to look like. You also have the flash deals, the zone deals, and they even label the cheapest ticket right here. So you see that cheapest ticket. They also got those flash deals that can save around 18% on your tickets. It's super, super nice. And honestly, their app is one of the better ticketing apps in all demand. And I like it because it takes just 2 clicks to get your tickets. No going here, no going there. It's super, super simple. And like I said, Game Time is obsessed with finding ways to help you save on money. So with those zone deals, you pick a section, and then Game Time will pick the seats, and you get an average of 18% of savings. So again, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account using code ChiefsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply, and redeem that code ChiefsChat, CHIEFS chat, ChiefsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price guarantee. Roster exemption for Ross and the Chiefs. So what exactly does that mean? Now, I think we've had this before in this season, But let's give a little bit of a refresher to why exactly the Chiefs get a roster exemption. Because of this, as they're adding someone back from an exemption list, this also happened with Charles Omenihu when he came back. Here's what it means. Ross is free to return to practice this week, but the Chiefs received what the NFL calls a roster exemption. That means that Ross does not currently count against the 53-man roster in Kansas City. The roster is currently full, and the team will need to make a corresponding move before activating him to the 53-man roster. The roster exemption gives the Chiefs time to figure out that move. Now, this could last past this practice week, so it may not happen until potentially maybe next Monday. We haven't really gotten an official statement on it yet. Andy Reid kind of talked about it a bit, but this could be one of those where you don't see him in this game against the Patriots. It may be until week 16 when he faces the Raiders that we could see him back on the field. And I thought it was an interesting quote we got from Andy Reid as he talked about this yesterday, saying, we'll just kind of see where he is, talking about Justyn Ross physically. It's hard to be gone that long and just kind of jump right back in. We'll just have to see where he's at. So I mentioned those games that he could come back for. Let's look at the last 4 games of the Chiefs' 2023 schedule. So week 15, you got the Patriots. Week 16, you're at the Raiders on Christmas Day. And I'm telling you this, here's the thing. With that could be probably the game you see him at, because I don't know if he'll come back. Given you're on the road with New England, and like Andy Reid said, he isn't exactly ready. I mean, it's hard to kind of not play for 6 weeks, not even be at practice, and then just jump back in and play. We saw that with Nick Bolton and his injury. Didn't play for 4 weeks. He had a full week of practice and then another one before he was able to come back. Maybe we'll see him at the Raiders, and hopefully he can have these last 3 games, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Chargers, to kind of get amped up and see if he is available for the postseason. And hey, maybe he could be a boost to this team. The wide receiver room has really, really been bad. Maybe he could help it. Could he be a savior maybe? I don't know. Could Justyn Ross save this Chiefs team, as the wide receiver room has been absolutely gosh dang awful? If you think that he could be, then type Y for yes. If you think he couldn't be, this is stupid, Jace, then type N for no. Let me know in the comments section. I think I'll make this one the pinned comment on today's video. So let me know what you're thinking. Can Justyn Ross be a savior to the Chiefs? Type Y for yes, or type N for no. The playoff picture, once again, I want to talk about this real quick because I think it's interesting as you have Ross coming in at this time, and you have the Dolphins now just 1 game ahead of you, and the Ravens 1 game ahead of them. Ross will be great to have at this time, given you're fighting for, honestly, the division, as Denver is coming up on your tail just 1 game back at you, and you don't want to lose these final 4 games at all. But to get that 1 seed, he could also come in and maybe provide a boost. This season, though, he hasn't really done much, and I don't think he's going to change anything this season. I think that's the ultimate thing. Is he going to be a big addition, a big help? Well, yeah, but at the same time, I don't know if he is going to be like this savior. It's not like we're going to get him back and, the wide receiver room's saved. Everything's going to be okay. Like, that's just not how it's going to work. You saw his stats. He only caught 3 balls this year. I'd like to have him back. I think he can be a really good guy for the future. But right now, it's just not exactly the worst, or rather the best timing for him to come back. We do appreciate you watching, though, and I know that Ross is an exciting player, to say the least. So I'm glad he's back, and hopefully he can play this weekend. But if not, maybe he'll play on the upcoming, or rather following week, against the Raiders for Christmas. We're going to be live for both those games, so make sure you join us here on the Chiefs Report and hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Chiefs Kingdom, we'll see you later. Peace out.